Good morning, everyone. Grandma Diane here. It's time for Grandma Diane's story time. Today we're going to be looking at a book called It Could Always Be Worse, and it's written by Margot Zemach. And as I told you yesterday, it has a little award sticker up here, and actually it's a pretty big award sticker. It's a Caldecott Honor book for, it doesn't have the year on it, but it is a Caldecott Honor book, and a Caldecott Honor book means that it was considered as a possible winner for the Caldecott Award. And the Caldecott is for illustrations, pictures, the drawings, the stuff that helps to bring the story alive. And then there's another one called the Newbery Award, and that's for author for story writing. Caldecott is for the illustrator, the one that draws the pictures. So this is a Caldecott Honor book. It didn't win the main prize, but it's right up there in the last stages of judging. So we'll have to take special note of the pictures today. Okay. Well, looking at the cover, this looks like a lively place, doesn't it? And does it look like it is today or maybe a while ago, a long time ago? What do you think? I'm thinking maybe it was a long time ago. And a lot of the people don't have shoes on, which is interesting. And this lady is sleeping up here on the top, like on a shelf. Like over here is the shelf, and over here is this lady sleeping on one that's a little bit bigger. I don't know how she can sleep with all the noise going on. And here's a little boy getting dressed, and he already looks like he has some slippers on or something. So let's take a look. It Could Always Be Worse, Margot Zemach. It could always be worse. And this one is also a signed book by Margot, signed to my friend Karen, who I borrowed the book from. And here they're going across the bridge. Looks like they're going into that house, doesn't it? And Margot drew a little chicken there. That's kind of cute. To my friend Gina with love, it says. Oh, here we have kind of a similar look to the cover, doesn't it? Only this one is kind of tipped the other way. The cover was, well, let's look. The cover was this way. And now this page looks similar, but it's going the other way. Once upon a time in a small village, a poor, unfortunate man lived with his mother, his wife, his 6 children in a little one-room hut. Because they were so crowded, the man and his wife often argued. The children were noisy and they fought. In winter, when the nights were long and the days were cold, life was especially hard. The hut was full of crying and quarreling. One day, when the poor, unfortunate man couldn't stand it anymore, he ran to the rabbi for advice. Here's the man talking to the rabbi. Hello, Rabbi. Things are in a bad way with me and getting worse. We are so poor that my mother, my wife, my 6 children, and I all live together in one small hut. We are too crowded and there's so much noise. Help me, Rabbi. I'll do whatever you say. The rabbi thought and pulled on his beard. At last he said, Tell me, my poor man, do you have any animals? Perhaps a chicken or 2? Yes, said the man, I do have a few chickens, also a rooster and a goose. Ah, fine, said the rabbi. Now go home and take the chickens, the rooster, and the goose into your hut to live with you. Yes, indeed, Rabbi, said the man, though he was a bit surprised. That seems like he's adding more noise, doesn't it? It looks like this is part of the village. And here he is back at home in his one and he's bringing in the chickens and the rooster, just like the rabbi told him to. The poor unfortunate man hurried home and took the chickens, the rooster, and the goose out of the shed and into his little hut. When some days or a week had gone by, life in the hut was worse than before. Now with the quarreling and crying, there was honking, crowing, clucking. There were feathers in the soup. The hut stayed just as small, and the children grew bigger. When the poor unfortunate man couldn't stand it any longer, he again ran to the rabbi for help. What a zoo, huh? Here he is, back at the rabbi. And here he's talking to the rabbi again. And this is the commotion that he's thinking about. Holy Rabbi, he cried, see what a misfortune has befallen me. Now with the crying and quarreling, with the honking and clucking and crowing, there are feathers in the soup. Rabbi, it couldn't be worse. Help me, please. The rabbi listened and thought. At last he said, tell me, do you happen to have a goat? Oh, yes, I do have an old goat, but he's not worth much. Excellent, said the rabbi. Now go home and take the old goat into your hut to live with you. Oh, no, do you really mean it, Rabbi? Cried the man. Come now, my good man, and do as I say at once, said the rabbi. Now he wants him to bring a goat into all of this. Here's, part of the village again. The pictures are really beautiful, aren't they? Pretty outstanding. And here we are at his hut with his wife, and some of the kids are outside. The poor unfortunate man tramped back home with his head hanging down and took the old goat into his hut. Oh my goodness. Look at her faces in the soup. The buns are flying, or the bread's flying all over. The goose is going to eat some bread. These guys are playing with the chickens, and oh my. When some days or a week had gone by, life in the little hut was much worse. Now with the crying, quarreling, clucking, honking, and crowing, the goat went wild, pushing and butting everyone with his horns. The hut seemed smaller. The children grew bigger. When the poor unfortunate man couldn't stand it another minute, he went back to the rabbi. Here he comes back to the rabbi. Look at over here. Look at the mess that his house must be. The baby's in the bucket. These guys are wrestling. He's peeling potatoes. Goose and the rooster are fighting. Oh my, what a mess. She had just given that boy a bag all over. What a mess. Holy Rabbi, help me, he screamed. Now the goat is running wild. My life is a nightmare. The rabbi listened and thought. At last he said, tell me, my poor man, is it possible that you have a cow? Young or old, doesn't matter. Yes, Rabbi, it's true I have a cow, said the poor man fearfully. Go home then, said the rabbi, and take the cow into your hut. Oh, no, surely not, Rabbi, cried the man. Do it at once, said the rabbi. The poor unfortunate man trudged home with a heavy heart and took the cow into his hut. Is the rabbi crazy? He thought. Here he's taken the cow into his hut with all the other people that are in there. I'm wondering if the rabbi is crazy too. How about you? Oh my goodness. Now we have the cow in the hut. Oh, look at what's going on all over. They're arguing. He's pulling the cow's tail. Oh my, the goat's way up there. What a mess. She's got a broom she's going to hit the cow with. When some days or a week had gone by, life in the hut was very much worse than before. Everyone quarreled, even the chickens. The goat ran wild. The cow trampled everything. The poor man could hardly believe his misfortune. At last, when he could stand it no longer, he ran to the rabbi for help. It is a disaster. My goodness, look at this. Wow. The kids are fighting. This guy's trying to ride the goat, and he's got the goose. Oh, and he's got a sword. She's dumping the pot out. Oh my gosh. Plates are flying. The coffee is spilling. Holy Rabbi, he shrieked, help me, save me. The end of the world has come. The cow is trampling everything. There is no room even to breathe. It is worse than a nightmare. The rabbi listened and thought. At last he said, go home, my poor unfortunate man, and let the animals out of your hut. I will. I'll do it right away, said the man. The poor unfortunate man hurried home and let the cow, the goat, the chickens, the goose, and the rooster out of his little hut. That night, the poor man and all his family slept peacefully. There was no crowing, no clucking, no honking. There was plenty of room to breathe. The very next day, the man ran back to the rabbi. That looks better, doesn't it, than with all those animals in there? My gosh. Oh, holy rabbi, he cried, you made my life sweet for me. With just my family in the hut, it's so quiet, so roomy, so peaceful. What a pleasure. And that's the end of the story. Well, let's think about that a little bit. Isn't this how he started out at the beginning? With just his family in the hut? Yeah, it was just his family to start with. And then when he went to the rabbi kept telling him to bring more and more animals into the hut. I wonder why he told him to do that. Do you think maybe if there were more and more animals in the hut, it would get louder and noisier and noisier? And then finally, when the rabbi told him to take the animals out, he did. And they were back to the way they started, but it was so much more peaceful. Interesting. That rabbi maybe was a very smart man. What do you think? And there's the old man in his hut at the end of the story, looking a little worn, but better off than he was with all the animals in the house. Story, it could always be worse. So every time he went to the rabbi made him bring more animals into the house, right? So he'd get used to becoming more worse. As the story went on, it became almost unbearable to have all those animals in the house with all those people. So by the time he took them out, he was happy again, because now it was quieter without the animals. It was better. Animals gone. The animals made it worse, and taking them out made everything better. The rabbi truly was a wise man, wasn't he? Well, that's the end of our story for today. Thanks for joining us. Tomorrow we're going to try a new story. Maybe some of you have heard of these books already. There are 6 of them, and between tomorrow and next week, we're going to be reading 5 of them. It's called Zen Pig, And the first one, book 1, is called The Art of Gratitude. So we're going to take a look at that one tomorrow. The story is written by Mark Brown, and they're illustrated by Amy Lynn Lawig. So that's on store for tomorrow. If you have the Zen Pig books, you might want to get them out and bring them along tomorrow, and you can read along with me. If not, join us anyway and enjoy the story, as always. Nice day today. Get outside, get some exercise, breathe in some fresh air, find a good book, find a good corner to read it in, and enjoy. See you tomorrow. Bye.